I don't understand this animosity or antipathy towards 401k plans. The weirdest thing, I read 401ks are a scam, 401ks are robbing you. It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand it. 401ks, hey, they're not mandatory. You're not forced to do a 401k. A lot of the provisions have automatic enrollment, but you can still opt out if you don't want it. It's not like It's not like mandating wearing a mask, for heaven's sake. Where you get fined if you don't do it. 401k plan, the fees of 401ks are generally pretty favorable relative to traditional brokerage accounts, retail brokerage accounts. 401k plans don't have a lot of options generally. That's good. You don't want a lot of options. Just like the TSP, but there's 5 options. If you take the L funds, there's more than that, but the L funds are comprised of the 5 options. You got the C, the F, the I, the S, and the G. 5 options. That's all you need. And people say that about the TSP too. Like, there's not enough options. You don't need any more options than that. So I don't get the 401k. There's a lot of people say it's a scam. They're ripping you off. They're stealing your money. Blah blah, making the employer rich. Blah. It's silly. If it wasn't for a 401k plan, I would not be right here. That's all there is to it. My 401k at USAA allowed me to quit my crappy old job, gave me enough money to take the risk to start my business. And so far, so good. And so I'm for my 401k. Grant you, the 401k plan at USAA was fantastic, man. We had every dollar you put in, they matched a dollar up to 8%. And then they also had 8% of your contribution. So for simplicity, if you made $100,000, you were getting, and you put $8,000 into your 401k, USAA matched you $8,000, and you're vested after 2 years, I think. And on top of that, they had a profit sharing component of it too, which was fantastic. It was incredible. So it's nuts. I remember when I first took my job at USAA, I was talking to some guy about relocating down to Texas. Whoa, what the, dudes? Shit, look at these vultures, man. What the heck? Man, those stink. Good, well, not the vultures stink, but whatever they're eating at. Man, oh yeah. That vultures, weird looking birds, man. Anyway, so I remember talking to a guy when I was relocating from Dayton, Virginia down to San Antonio and changed my homeowner's insurance and whatnot. He goes, oh, what's bringing you to San Antonio? He goes, I took a job at USA. He goes, oh man, you're going to love it because you'll see, it's going to be nuts how fast your 401k grows. And he was right, man. It grew like a freaking weed. It was awesome because the profit sharing part of the 401k as well. So that's the issue. A lot of people don't understand. 401k is comprised of 3 components. Your contributions, called your employee deferrals, the employer's contributions, if there is one, i.e. a match, what's called the match, and then profit sharing contributions that the employer makes if they do. A lot of employers don't have a profit sharing contribution, but if they do, that's pretty sweet because if there are profits to be had, you'll get a portion of that into your 401k. Now the profit sharing portion at USAA vested after 5 years, so you had to be there 5 years to get it. But man, I tell you, once you got that, woo, Nelly, it was crazy. Like it is a 5 year, like a 20% vesting each and every year too. So a huge incentive to stay 5. But anyway, long story short, my 401k plan allowed me to quit that same job which provided me that 401k plan, and I couldn't have been happier. And if I didn't have that 401k, I would have left a long time before. It's a huge incentive. Not a golden handcuff, because the golden handcuff implies that you have to stay there until you retire for the pension, if that makes sense. And that's not what a USA, it wasn't a golden handcuff. It's almost like a golden leash, if you will. Because after 5 years you're vested, maybe 6, I can't remember, but after a certain amount of time you're fully vested in it. But man, it's sweet because after that time, every time any money went into your 401k, it was all yours. It was sweet. No other way around that. And I didn't know if I would have stayed at USAA, woo, I'd be looking at some serious scratch. And I'm not looking at serious scratch now because I took 6 figures out to fund my business the first year. Not even to fund my business, to live on. It's literally living off my business and paying my mortgage. Put food on the table off my 401k, which went into my IRA the first year. Now I still was left. I still had more than 6 figures in there. I still do. But man, we had the mid six figures at one point at USAA, and then we don't have the mid six figures now. Let me tell you that. Now we're still doing okay. Don't get me wrong, but man, woo! I got a little bit dicey there for about the first 12 to 18 months. I got a family of 6, got a big fat mortgage, no income coming in. But again, if I did not have my 401k, I would not have been able to do it. So when you hear people griping about 401ks, just tell them to shut the hell up. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. If your 401k plan, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But to say that 401ks are scams or 401ks aren't going to do what they're told, that's the weirdest thing ever. The 401k gives you the control. A pension doesn't. A pension plan means you have to stay there for 20 or 30 years or until you're 65, a combination of 85 or something like that, which means that's literally that's a golden handcuff. You are stuck until you stay there for a number equivalent to 85 or for 20 years or something like that. A 401k plan doesn't do that. It says you can stay here as long as you want, and if you're vested, that's all your money. Okay, got it. I was just watching a video. They're like, it's a 401k, whatever. I was like, the 401ks are not the panacea, but they're certainly better than the old days, where you had to stay at some crappy old job until you're 60, until you had 25 years or something like that. That's not freedom, man. 401ks provide freedom. Other plans do not. I will see you.